Mikey, yeah, that was almost like they all put the corner in a different place there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But Danish, super, super ambitious and aggressive and making it work as well. So the number 13 in the lead still, and Mie so far, much better Sunday for the Japanese rider in second.
Well, they might as well have gone surfing, they were so far offline at turn 10. If you actually went a little bit further, you would have actually gone into the sea, Jen. So keep it tiny next time around. The biggest loser in that sort of section, though, was Adaki. He's been pushed all the way back to, I think, now 5th. So out front, coming round to complete the first lap, we've got Danish versus Mie, two veterans of the class now. Mie with 3 podiums here last year. He's just got to stay on the thing. I think he could be in a run for the win. We've got Izawa chasing him down on his own in third place, I should say. But this race will be far, far, far from over.
It will be far from over, and we saw a few feints there yesterday, and that time not quite enough room to get it done either. But it's already all go, isn't it, in the ATC? But we do have quite a gap between this duel for the lead and then Izawa in third, and then some more daylight back to that big freight train.
Some definitely different line choices being taken then from Danish compared to Gun Mie there. Danish going a little bit wider through that turn 3 and 4 section. Mie keeping it a bit tighter, a little bit neater, chasing him down. I wonder what sort of move he'll be looking to make as we approach turn 10 once again, as Padilla goes very wide at turn 8. The Indonesian rider gets absolutely swamped. I think that was, well, the number 3, Rizwanto, who gets pushed wide. We got Wakamatsu, the number 2, there in towards turn 10. It's a huge, huge group there fighting for 4th position, because we've still got Izawa on his own in 3rd, chasing down these two. Mie has now taken the lead.
Yeah, he has. Well, that's interesting then. The number 5 obviously wanting to get out ahead, and so far Danish obviously in this duel for the lead, and with a bit of a gap back to that freight train, and Izawa on his own in the middle, but so far not able to quite break away or start to do so.
Who's that has gone down there? The number 24. Oh, that's Zachary Akbar, another Indonesian wild card.
Yeah, that's a shame then, especially when you're a wild card, and it'll be maybe we'll see him back on track later in the season. We are yet to see, but yeah, so at least rider okay, we can easily see there, so maybe he'll be able to get back in the race and get a bit more experience. But over the line then, here we go, and it's still Mie in the lead, the number 5. Much better day already for the Japanese rider, with a good few more laps under his belt, and I think he's going to hang on to it here. He is, and it looks to me as well like Izawa has just made a little bit of progress into that gap.
Correct, he has. That over that lap, it went from about 9/10 of a second, well, then back up to 1.1, but back down to 9/10 of a second once again then. So he could well be in the running for this victory overall, which would be very crucial for the championship, especially considering the race winner, Gun Mie, is fairly down in the standings now, following his crash yesterday. 5th place, 33 points, compared to Shinya Izawa's 55.
Yeah, absolutely. And we could see as well, last time over the line, Gun Mie set a 1:44.809. Yesterday, it was only Danish who was in the 44s. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we've already had a couple there on that last lap round from Mie and from Izawa with a 44.9. So much hotter pace from more than just Danish on Sunday so far.
Wow, that was Wakamatsu, I think, the number 2, almost losing the front there. Well, Fran, if there's any sort of consolation, this was the race leading move from Mie in towards turn 10. Oof. Much better line choice, pushing Danish rather wide there. That was the other point I was going to make. How many riders we've seen going way offline but keep it upright this time around? So clearly conditions much more favourable this time around this morning.
Yeah, it would seem so, wouldn't it? But the number 5 then still in the lead at the moment, but it looks like Danish starting to line up a move here, but I don't think yet. I think got a little bit pulled in there and seemed a little bit indecisive whether he was going to go for it or not. But Izawa very much on the scene then now, and it's a 3-way fight for the win.
Yeah, you saw that little look from Danish as he headed round the very, very tight turn 16. He knows that the championship leader, the rider just in front of him in the standings, is there now, and that was the fastest lap of the race so far from Izawa, a 1:44.5. 3 seconds back to Adaki. What's happened to him this weekend? Unfortunately, just been sort of swamped, really. I saw him locked in a debrief with the ATC rider coach and not complaining.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's one of those, isn't it? Like with Scott Ogden yesterday, like in Q2, and then like, oh God, absolute disaster. Like, it's really not though, is it? These rookies just expect so much of themselves, and obviously Adaki and Izawa were the 2 race winners in Qatar, although in reverse order of how I just said them. So, you know, it started incredibly well for the 2 guys this season, but patience, learning is key, as well as winning and podiums. You know, it's all about progress in the Asia Talent Cup. So yeah, good to see Adaki having to fight it out today, and still upright, the number 14, getting a few more laps under his belt after that crash yesterday.
Well, I tell you what, he's got 2 ATC riders from last year. Faris Putra has sadly gone down. I'm not quite sure where that is. Oh, well, the number 8's up and okay. Turn 10, so at the end of that little squirt, what's happened here? Just way offline, unfortunately. Too much front braking. Down he went. I was going to say, Fran, I mean, this is absolutely critical for Izawa, because he's got 2 Asia Talent Cup riders from the year before up in front, but fortunately he's okay. We've just seen Carter Thompson has gone down. We've just had it on our timing screens. Is that a mistake?
I think it might be. I just pointed it at it for you as well, but on the graphics on the screen, certainly we have the number 6 still in 7th place. It's not come up on the main screen,
he's
so maybe it should have been the number 8 of Faris Putra then. So no panic, Australia. So far so good. Thompson still in that freight train battle behind this trio, battling for the win, I believe.
Meanwhile, whilst we've seen the replay of that crash from Putra earlier, Gunmie's gone from 1st down to 3rd place.
He has.
So and look at the difference in line choices there. I was noticing down in towards turn 10, Hakim Danish takes a very, very late braking line. Unfortunately, Izawa had absolutely nothing for a much earlier breaker into that section of the track. But what about here? Knee down whilst absolutely flat out on these Mini Moto 3 Hondas. Here we go in towards turn 10. I don't think any of them are going to be close enough to make an overtaking move, or will they? Izawa still just, Danish is just such a strong breaker into that deep braking zone.
Yeah, absolutely. You see the number 21 there starting to think about it, but not in the end, and there are still plenty laps to go in this race too. There is no need to be that hasty as maybe a lunge there would have been. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, watching these 3? It's pretty different lines in places, and yeah, certainly Danish seems king of the late breakers at the front at the moment.
Well, as the live championship is out there, if it finishes in this order, you'd have Danish 3 points behind Izawa in the standings. Al Sahuti a bit further down. So this is a really crucial classification we've got at the moment for the overall championship standings. There's a long season to go yet, of course, but this is that's already starting to get nearly a race win's worth of points behind the positions at 3 and 4 in the championship, if it stays as it is now.
Yeah, exactly. It is quite a chunk, isn't it? And as well, with quite a long break coming up for the Asia Talent Cup, psychologically, I'm sure there are a lot of guys in this field who want to at least sign off these first couple of races with a really, really solid result, especially the likes of Adaki and Mie, who had a bit of a difficult Saturday. But fastest lap then that time around was Hakim Danish, as you can see on your screen, a new all-time lap record. So it's a few tenths better than Gun Mie's practice time that was previously top of the pile. So it's good pace from Danish once again. It's just not enough to break these 2 and get away at the front this time around so far.
Yeah, I tell you what, Izawa certainly is doing a lot of learning on these laps, because he's really able to reel in Danish in that in those turns 3 and 4, and Danish goes wide in towards turn 8 there, so really cut across the track. Got to be careful, because actually that could be deemed as a shortcut.
I was going to say,
there's a lane you're meant to go through.
I think that is definitely getting towards cheeky territory. Obviously it was a mistake, but it's not one that he's really lost out from, so he'll have to be careful, the number 13. Track limits are important, as are shortcuts. We've seen plenty laps cancelled, even in the Premier class of Grand Prix racing this weekend, with the riders just cutting bits of the track.
There's track limits and then there's shortcuts.
Exactly, yes. There's like just over into the green, and then there's actually didn't really take the corner.
No.
But no harm done at the moment then for Danish. We'll keep an eye on it if we get anything on the screen about track limits warnings or shortcut or anything else.
Gun Mie is making
what
another
a
move for the lead once again. That is classic. That is exactly what this sort of section of the circuit was designed for. Moves like that, and that was just executed to perfection from the 3-time podium finisher here in Mandalika.
It was indeed. That was very nice stuff from the number 5 then, and he's back in the race lead. Let's see what the others have got for him at the moment. I think he's going to make it into turn 1, but obviously I can be immediately proved wrong.
This is the Asia Talent Cup after all, as we go in towards turn 1. So
no, I was right this time.
No, yes, absolutely. Well, it's about time we're both right about something for once in occasion. We've been doing it for 4 years now, haven't we? So let's take a look at the line choices here. You can see Hakim Danish just loves that little bit wider line. Mie, so much tighter there, and just takes that different line choice in towards turns 4 now, and heading out onto this long, flat-out run here. Keep an eye on how they go through turns 8 then, because that's where Danish went wrong last time. This is the little chasing group. You got Wakamatsu from Indonesian, podium finisher yesterday for Dilla, and Adaki just behind them.
Yep, and Carter Thompson in that group as well, so it definitely was an error earlier, and the number 6 remains on track, although Son's orange helmet making life a bit more complicated. These guys, though, they're really going at it now, and Danish again over onto the green, the number 13. He needs to be careful there, because we don't want to see penalties getting in the way of this great fight for the win.
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to have another look at that, because I couldn't tell whether he was maybe pushed out a little bit by Zara. Guessing that's what he would plead if it stood up in court, but not this time, in front of Mike Webb. Judge. So down towards turn 10 we come once again. Mie then, well, he certainly did his homework last night. It's not turn 10, my apologies, the camera angle took me by surprise. It's towards turn 16 now, where we saw that overtaking move from last time, but no such attempts this time around. 10 laps to go. As they come across the line, it will be 9.
It will indeed. So you can see Danish there maybe thinking about that nice little pickpocket move, but not that time around. They're a lot closer to the back of the number 5 this time though, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see some attacks into turn 1. Who is going to come out on top in the shuffle of the braking zone? Azawa through.
Wowee,
just
that was
Azawa,
a proper dive, wasn't it? And didn't really leave any room left for me to take him back through, did he?
I was worried Danish was also going to go for it there, but no, nice into the race lead then. It's just a great little battle here, isn't it? It's got a bit calmer, a bit cleaner since a few frantic laps. And yes, so far they just seem to be trying to get the measure of each other. And like you said, a few different lines, different places where, you know, a different rider looks a little bit stronger. So it could be an interesting tactical one on the last lap, especially because obviously we saw some duels here last year with Daniel Sharil versus Tayo Furusato. Yesterday, Danish by himself, and we didn't really get that move on the last lap between the other guys fighting for the podium. But so far, these guys are already absolutely carving each other up, and I think I spoke too soon saying that's a bit calmer, because Mie just straight back through, and Danish again looks to be just struggling to hang on to the back of him. He just went wide and he's just dropped back a little bit.
There's a lot of mistakes from Danish here today, from yesterday being so dominant and just absolutely imperfect, basically a second a lap quicker than everybody. So just a lot of errors in this particular race, so could be a bit fatigue maybe coming in, or, well, not sure really.
So yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. He may just be a little bit bothered that he's got so much company at the front after that performance yesterday, but especially Azawa, because Mie, we didn't know, he was an unknown quantity after he crashed on lap 1 yesterday, but the number 21 looked like he'd have to really pull something special out of the bag to stay with Danish today, and he has done so. So impressive stuff from Shinya Azawa overnight to come out in this race. And
a big look behind.
I was going to say, yes, he is still there, but I think Danish might be able to get a little bit closer here and into the braking zone. I keep saying braking point, it's not really English. But as you were at the front, and let's see if Danish has cut that gap a little bit with that slipstream.
Oh, I thought Azawa was going to
nab Mie
at the front then. That was an interesting different line choice. He's such a smiley character, is Azawa, isn't he? But, well, a smiley assassin, you could say. I think it's International Smile Day as well, so, yes, but that was, Danish has seemed to caught back on the front of these guys this time around. As he came across the line, well, he was half a second adrift from Azawa just in front of him, but now he's clawed back a tenth or so. But this flowing section is so crucial to absolutely nail, because you can really make some time if anybody makes a mistake, as Danish found out the hard way a few laps ago.
Yes, absolutely. It really can mess with your lap time, can't it? If you lose that momentum and just mess up those sections, because the corners fit together so wonderfully that you just have that concertina effect, really, don't you? If you fluff one bit start of the race, but now just starting to kind of move out into little pockets of 3-4 riders fighting it out. We'll have to see though, because everything can change in the ATC, especially when that gaggle of riders punches a little bit bigger hole in the air.
Yeah, 6.8 seconds they are adrift from any sort of podium spot, so they're definitely fighting for the Wooden Spoon Award, 4th position, but it's more about the results
favourite
than the progression. Yeah, me too. It's the only one I ever would have got in Sports Day back in the day, but here we are. Adaki, it's a good performance. I mean, you expect a little bit more from him, having taken a race win already, but I think we can't really take away what an impressive performance this is from a rookie, as we see another rookie head back into P1.
Yeah, exactly. I think Adaki as well. Oh, it's close again there between those two. Those different lines really making me a little bit nervous with the camera angle. But yeah, Adaki definitely, I think, will need points on the board today. He can't have another crash, so if he's not got more than 4th is a very good finish for a rookie and for any rider, really. So yeah, main objective for him will be take as many points as possible, and if it's not in the podium battle, then so be it, but it has to be a finish.
Yeah, worth pointing out as well, the pace from this trio out front is significantly quicker than those behind them. You got Danish, the only rider in the 144s last time around, and the other two were in the 145.2s, but that won't help any sort of lap times as Mie heads back through into the lead once again on Ozawa. So Danish, he's got these two back up. He's really sort of settled in now after those that little trio of mistakes that he made earlier on. So a bit calmer for the Malaysian at the moment.
Yeah, you think he's probably got a little bit more of a more regular heartbeat now, back on the back of them, and no stress. They've not escaped into to make it a duel for the win. But yeah, Ozawa then just a little mistake from the number 21 there, and Gunmie needing no second invitation to head through into the lead. We still have a fair way to go in this race, so good news for us. It looks like we're going to get a great fight to the finish between these guys. But yeah, I don't know, we can't call at the moment, can we? Gunmie though, seemingly a little bit less flustered than the others. We've not seen too many mistakes today from the number 5. It's a really solid job, because let's not forget, Adaki needs that finish, but so does Gunmie, because he also crashed out yesterday and took 0 points. I think he's about to lose the lead though.
Yeah,
he is
that
indeed.
is really impressive from Ozawa. That sort of moved the difference in line choice there. Gotta say, just perfectly executed once again. You can almost tell the difference from the start of the race to the end of it, how much he's learned just following these two, with a year of extra experience on these bikes under their belts, and also more laps around this circuit too.
Yeah, I was wondering about Adaki off the start. Obviously at the time the Japanese rider had trying to stay ahead of Hakim Danish and losing out, but then I thought, well, if you do follow him, obviously with the advantage he had yesterday, maybe he'll unlock some secrets to Mandalika. But no, it wasn't to be for the number 14, and at the moment these guys seemingly needing no help from the Malaysian to stay at the front of this race, and really close again there. It's still 5 laps to go after this one, guys. Let's keep it nice and calm.
Yeah, that was a real noticeable difference in the way that Ozawa was braking out towards turn 10 than it was earlier on. He couldn't have any answers for Mie or Danish, who were trying to make an overtaking move around the outside, no less, earlier on. But that time he just sort of let his brakes off. That was just brilliant. You're seeing visual learning here in the Celica, which is what this series is frankly all about.
It is, absolutely. It's all about the progress, like winning podiums, that's all great as well, of course, but it's also about the progress you make throughout the season. And yeah, speaking of progress, Gunmie making some more there.
Yeah, absolutely nailed that drive out of turn 14 and through turn 15, making that overtake stick towards turn 16. We're back on the new section of asphalt that we got there. You can see it's much darker than before. That's what caught a few riders out yesterday, this first section. You can't, if it has rained, you can't see any damp patches because it's pretty much the same colour. No such problems today though with the dry weather. The tone of the race is starting to change, Fran. 5 laps to go, and it's looking a little bit more about jostling for position rather than pulling out a lead ahead even more from the 4th place, who are now 8 seconds back.
Yeah, they've pulled out that gap bit by bit, haven't they? And it's definitely a podium to lose for these guys. So I hope
the back of them now looking to try and make some moves. No, it's not turn 10. Got the camera angle confused again. It's out turn 14. That looks pretty similar, but they've got, I think that's Akbar ahead of them. A back marker coming out. Yes, he's okay. He's let them through after his crash earlier on, thankfully.
Yeah, that's good stuff then from the wild card. Good racecraft. Also important part of learning. But Danish then has picked another pocket and up into 2nd place. Maybe the Malaysian is ready to try and push and get in the battle at the front again, elbows out, because it was quite the Ozawa Mie show for a couple of laps there with the Malaysian just hanging back. But at the moment though, still nothing to decide between them. But we do have some long lap penalties that have just come up on the timing screen.
Yeah, unfortunately your podium finisher from yesterday, Fadilla, is going to have to go through the long lap penalty lane. He's currently in 6th position. Then we've also got one for number 19, that's Happy, the Malaysian, who's down in 14th place, just behind Partizan, about 2 tenths behind the Thai rider. Will also have to go through a long lap penalty. This is why we say you got to avoid not just, well, the green. You can't be taking shortcuts like we saw Danish do at this exact point in the circuit, well, about half the race ago now.
Yeah, it was a while ago now. The number 13's kept it nice and tidy since those few little mistakes he had. But yeah, certainly it's going to be a painful one as well, with not much time left in the race to try and get back on terms with the riders you're fighting at the moment. That long lap penalty Mie is going to certainly put a dent in Fadila's finishing position and her feet as well.
Wow.
So we'll see, but so far so good for the front runners. I think Danish was obviously just making a couple of errors rather than trying to be too cheeky.
Well, he nearly made another
got
one
away
there,
with it. He did
in
indeed.
turn 12, he had a big twitch going through there. We saw a few MotoGP riders go down at that point on the circuit yesterday. Lost a bit of ground, a bit of drive out of turn 14 into this 15-16 sort of combined corner that they've got. So inviting for an overtake. I'll be fascinated to see, and I'm sure plenty of Moto3 riders in the World Championship will be eager to see what sort of overtaking moves are made into that section, how the race is won exactly, because there are a variety of options that you've got in that final section.
There are indeed. So here we go then. There's 3 more after this one, but Gun Mie then moving to try and take the lead, but no, Danish then keeping it nice and tidy, the number 13. He leads once again. There you can see the confirmation of the long laps for Fadila and Hafi. But and we've still got a group of 4 battling here then. I think that's the Adaki-led battle for second.
Correct.
So the yellow helmet of Wakamatsu, which is always a dead giveaway. But yeah, there we go, number 14.
Fadila, wow.
There we go.
God,
that was
like
a late decision.
Mistake. Yeah. Goodness. So through he goes, and unfortunately that is his battle for 4th pretty much over and done with. 3 laps to go. Ain't no chance with this sort of pace. So he will be going for that. And who was that? That was Mie, who nearly did the full Carter Thompson from yesterday. You've got to be so careful with your line choice there, but he won't get penalised for that because, well, unfortunately, he's lost so much time already. Can he get settled once again, though? Because he's not actually lost that much ground.
He's not lost as much as you'd think, given that he even had his hand in the air, like, I'm off here, I'm off. But nicely saved then from the number 5, a little bit dramatic. Is this a replay already?
Yeah. Wide. He
just a little bit offline.
Wide, like just a little bit, a metre or so, and you are nearly over the bars.
The presence of mind to raise your hand in that situation as well always blows my mind.
Everything goes in slow motion at
I'd
that sort
still
of
just
speed.
be panicking and maybe just lightly screaming to myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, nicely saved then from the number 5. I'm sure he's had a bit of a spike of adrenaline from that. Let's see if he can just settle back down and tag back onto the back of this duo. At the moment though, Danish with a couple of metres in hand behind him, but it can all change so quickly in the Asian Talent Cup.
Yeah,
let's see if Ozawa can get back on terms with him.
You talk about a little adrenaline spike. I think that would have been the same for Ozawa, who had a grandstand view of Mie's near error there. So he's chasing back on to Hakim Danish at the moment. Just needs to get settled. The gap as they came across the line was 0.4 of a second. Not much if he manages to get this next section nailed. We're in towards turn 2, turn 3. The difference in line choices between these two here. This is really crucial to nail your run out onto the flat out section of turn 4. It's about full throttle from now, and they do it all the way towards turn 10. So line choice is key at this moment.
It is, and I think, don't want to call it too early, but I think Mie is going to be out of this fight for the win at the moment. Japanese rider may be saying, you know what, after a crash yesterday, 16 points is pretty grande for me today, because these two really starting to pull out some ground now.
Yeah, I've got to say, I think that was another mistake from Danish. His line choice wasn't nailed, and he just let Ozawa catch right onto the back of him once again. So that little advantage that he had is well and truly gone. So we've got a proper battle royale on this penultimate lap of round 2 in the Asia Talent Cup. Mie, well,
maybe I called it too soon. 13. Any little tiny mistake
now, so that's 0.15 of a second.
Closer and closer. I don't know if they're going to have enough time though to really make an attack. We will have to see. At the moment though, Mie hanging on to that second place, and the number 5 really giving it everything to try and be in this fight for the win.
Look what this will do for the championship though. 1 point will be separating. Hakim Danish will take the lead from Ozawa if it stays like this. Mie, time is running out for him. I think it is too late. It looks like Ozawa has settled for 3rd place. Tranduk Tai has gone down at turn 16. That was a lap ago. These are the final corners. I think it's going to be glory for Danish once again here for the Malaysian. Just 1 more corner to go. It's too little too late for Mie, but still a 2nd place will be sensational. Out the final corner, the Malaysian comes. It's going to be glory once again for the number 13 from Mie, and then Ozawa takes the podium. What a race that was once again here in Indonesia.
That was 0.272 in the end for Gun Mie. Absolutely incredible. And here's that second group then fighting for 4th place in the end. Adaki held onto that from Wakamatsu. Another solid job from the number 2 to move through the field. Carter Thompson, some nice good points there in 6th place. And yeah, Raycat Fadila then after that long lap penalty 7th. Hamad Al-Salhuti once again moving through the field into 8th. And Trihadika and Hafui completing the top 10 there as well.
Goodness me, what a great little array of results. Lovely but show of sportsmanship from Danish and Mie then.
Yep.
Little fist bumps. They're all comrades here, aren't
there,
they?
wasn't it?
I don't know of any rivalries in the Asia Channel Cup. I don't know of any of the riders that don't like each other or anything like that. They all seem very chummy. They do travel around, well, Asia and Oceania together all year long. So, yeah, it's good to see.
We had some good vibes in the Accenture workshop on when was it? On Thursday it was here, going through some social media and communication skills for these guys, including a little bit of English practice too. And yeah, the vibes were really good there. Some some great quotes. But you can see there then Tran Duc Tai taken to the medical centre. So hopefully the Vietnamese rider all okay and just getting checked out after that late crash for him.
Normally when we see it for a checkup, it's just a precautionary measure.
Exactly. I think it had initially come up rider okay, so hopefully he's just thinking,